Welcome back, Guardians, and in this video I wanted to talk about sparrows and this guy because I want to talk about the pulse rifle, I can't remember the name of it, the Outbreak Prime. This is the exotic quest line for the raid, and I'm going to be talking about through the quest line what to do, how to figure things out so that you can get this awesome weapon too that drops at 390 attack. So let's have a quick look at what's on the weapon actually before we do anything else. So the corruption spreads. Enemies that take repeated hits from this weapon spawn SIVA nanites that attack other enemies. Fall and take extra damage. Then we have virulence. Precision kills release a SIVA nanite swarm that attacks other enemies. You get a choice between lightweight, hand-loaded, and fitted stock. We have outlaw so that you can reload quicker. And then we have smooth ballistics, accurized ballistics, and smart drift control. Now, I only put this one on just to see what kind of damage it does in PvP with the extra impact. But let's have a quick look at this weapon. Let's fire this weapon so you guys can see it. Oh, look at it. Look at the little things. Ooh. Right, let's find someone else to kill. Get over here. Get over here. I want to kill you. Ooh, look at him. Look at him. This weapon is awesome. I mean, it sounds good. It looks good. It does decent damage. It's got great perks. So, you know, you can't complain about this being a actual raid exotic. What this is going to do is add clearance in the raid a hell of a lot easier. And I mean a hell of a lot easier. Because it's going to do more damage to Fallen. On top of that, oh, just look at it. If you got a bunch of enemies grouped up on top of each other and you're doing this type of damage, it's going to absolutely shred enemies. So how'd you get this? Well, it's all to do with the monitors in the raid. Now, this has been going around on the internet for a while about the 5th monitor that is hidden and secret, and we found out that it was inside the Black Diamond. In this video, we're going to be talking about all the monitors and how to get into that new 4th monitor that's only just been found and figured out how to get into. So if you would like to, hit that like button. It helps my channel out dramatically, and a video like this needs to be seen by as many people as possible. Before I get into it, there's a couple of people who I got help with from this, and that's one, Datto. Datto was one of the first people, or the first streamers, YouTubers, to make this public and show it around to be as awesome as it is. He had help from a guy called Ranger Watts, who done all the math and programming and all the stuff behind the scenes. And on top of that, I had Chariona actually message me and tell me how to do a certain part, which you'll see later on in the raid, to do with the 4th monitor. So massive shout outs to all 3 of those people. I wouldn't be able to make this video without their help. So let's get into it. So let's talk about monitors. In the raid, there are 5 monitors available for you to find and activate. And what this is going to do is cause a SIVA logo to appear on them, and this disables the laser grid to the final hidden chest in the raid. There are 5 altogether. The very first one is in the Vosik room, the boss battle with all the 4 doors, the blast doors that you close down. It is in that room. You want to go front left, walk in, jump up through the fan, follow it through, and it will be at the back. You just activate it. Next up, we have the second jumping platform area, where you go to the right through the door and you get to the hidden chest. There is a monitor just here in the same room that you jump up to get through to the room that has the hidden chest on the small little walkway. Back when you jump up onto the pipes and then over onto the walkway, if you look up and jump through the girders on the roof, you can land up there, walk through, jump up onto some pipes, follow it through, and you will find the second monitor. The third monitor is on the wall after you fight the Siege Engine. Once you've completed this encounter, you want to jump off the back of him and let him fall off the wall. On the slope that he has fallen down, has travelled down, you will see like a grey block on the right, made of like stone and cement. Jump on it and look down behind you. There is a little black diamond sticking out the wall. If you shoot that, it will blow the panel off, and then you can jump and land in there, follow it through, activate the monitor, and then jump back up through the roof onto the top of the wall. The fourth monitor is what we're going to talk about in just a second, because it is a complicated method to get this one unlocked. But the last and final monitor is in the last room after you kill the boss. You want to walk towards where the pillars of light were that you jump on to stop yourself from being killed by the SIVA mites. And if you look over the edge, you will see a panel has blown out, and you can land there, run down, and you will see a monitor followed by a small hallway with a chest on the end. That monitor unlocks the last and final grid. And then if you haven't yet, you need to unlock the fourth one, which was hidden for a very long time throughout the past couple of days, and everybody has been trying to figure out how to open it. So where is it? It is in the black diamond. So when you go into that room with a massive black diamond just after the server room, the monitor is inside that big structure in the center, and you need to be able to open it. And you open it by jumping down onto the kind of like tanks that are just below the walkway on the outside of the black diamond room, and you have to jump on them in like a certain order to say. So the very first thing you need to do is have 2 people back in the server room and have 4 people come to the black diamond room. These 4 people are going to be jumping on certain tanks to activate the monitors in the server farm. Once the monitors are active, you're going to use them for another step to be able to tell the people which other tanks to jump on. To activate them, you just use this map that is on screen. You can see the entrance is at the top and the exit is at the bottom. So where you walk into the diamond room is the top of this map. So if you picture yourself actually walking through that entrance, the 00 section, which is the top left of this picture, is on your right as you enter the game physically. So the one on the right to the 00, you can see that there are numbered actual things there: 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 and 000. These represent the tanks that are just below you and below the walkway. Then you can see that one of them is highlighted white, the 200 column, and you can see it's the 3rd row across from the nearest walkway. You need someone to stand on there and then have someone do the same on the 01 section, the 02 section and the 03 section, and you can see they're all highlighted on screen. Once you do this, you'll get a massive audio cue and have all of them 4 people jump up onto their corresponding walkways, and then it's over to the monitors in the server room. Now there are 2 monitors to activate in the server farm. What's going to happen is that one person is going to be sitting at the red terminal and one person is going to be sitting at the white terminal. Unfortunately, I don't have full footage of this because I just got what DPJ was seeing, and big shout outs to him for giving me the footage. So what this does, these 2 monitors, it plays a sequence of codes. You activate them and you can see in the bottom right hand corner numbers come up. There could be 0100, 0001, 0101, stuff like that. That is binary code, and you need to change the binary code into decimal code. When you do that, you get a number, just a single number. So let's say you have 0001. I believe that is 1. And what that's going to tell the person in the black diamond room is that they need to look at column 1 instead of column 2, 3, 4 and 5. That is 100, 200, 300, 400 and 500. So they need to look at column 100, and there are 5 separate tanks in that column for them to jump onto. The other person at the white terminal will call out their binary code after the fact that the first person has. So let's just say, for instance, the very first time you do this, the first set of numbers for the red terminal is 0000. That leaves you at 000, that column, and there are 2 columns in there. So if the second person calls out 0001, you know that you are on the number 1 in the 000 column. And they have to jump to that corresponding tank and stand on it. When they do, it will light up. After you've done the 00 section, you move on to the 01 section, 02 and 03 section, and you do it in order. So you have to be quite quick with these. So you need 2 people on the terminals who have a picture in front of them showing the codes that show up in binary and their counterparts in decimal on screen. And what you're going to do is have one person set up on the diagonal path in front of the 00, one in front of the 01, one in front of the 02, and one in front of the 03. Now, the 2 people on terminals aren't going to call out the decimal numbers 0000. They're just going to say 0 or 1 because they have the image in front of them to tell you the number. So when the person says 1 and the second person says 2, you know you need to be on number 1 column, which is 100, and the second one along. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated because the row closest to your walkway is row 0 because you can get zeros. So technically you're jumping on the third one along instead of the second one along if they call out a 2. So I know it's very complicated and probably not explaining it too clearly because it is really that complicated. I will link like Dato's video down below. He's much better explaining these types of things. And when you have activated all 4 people on these tankers, then the diamond will open and allowing you to hit the 4th monitor. Then you go and complete the raid, jump into the secret little room and pick up the exotic quest line. Now the quest line has a bunch of missions to do. First and foremost, you need to complete a Nightfall. Then you need to complete 3 Crucible matches or Heroic Strikes. You also need 3 public events on the Plaguelands, and you can do this by going to Arkan's Forge. And then last but not least, you need 50 kills with a pulse rifle. Once you have done this, this finishes this section of the quest and you go and hand it into Shiro or wherever it tells you to go. Now while you are doing these nightfalls and events and kills with pulse rifle, you should be in a fire team with 1 hunter, 1 titan and 1 warlock. A lot of the quest relies on you having 1 of each class in your fire team, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So make sure you're set up with the exotic quest on 3 separate characters in your fire team. Now with this quest you are going to get a SIVA Engine. It's an item you get from the raid, I believe. I cannot quite remember. It's been a long busy day, but you will get this item as you're going through the quest line. It's called a SIVA Engine, and what it is a lot of math problems. So at the very start of the grid, you'll have 1 box, and that 1 box will give you your starting number. And then at the very end, you'll see 1 box, which is your ending number. And you have to use the columns in the center to add or take away so that you start with your number and end with the final number. Now, the squares that are conductors means you add the number in the box to your previous number. Anything with a resistor in the name means you take that away from your previous number. Now luckily at this part it's not that unique in terms of codes. In fact, you just have to enter the code that I'm about to show you and tell you about. So if you are a hunter, you need to enter 23223. Now how you do that is the very left hand column is the first number of this sequence, so 2. So you go from the top, which is 1, down to 2, and you click that. And then you move on to column 2 and go down to the 3rd box down. And you do this all the way through. You can see on screen literally what I mean. There's a visual representation. Warlock, you go 3-1-3-1-3. And Titan goes 3-2-3-2-3. Now you have to be in a social space to do this, and you have to be in your fire team of 3 different characters. Once you have completed this and finished this, you will get another quest step, and that will take you to the Plaguelands. You've got a part of it that says actively explore the Plaguelands, and it says 0%. This is quite a grind to get it to 100%, but if you go to the Arkan's Forge, because you have to complete 3 of them anyway, you are going to get this 0% to 100% quite quickly, because it's all about how many enemies you kill and items you pick up from those enemies. Once you've completed both the Arkan's Forge and the 100%, you go and destroy Sepid's Perfected. Meanwhile, throughout this whole quest, you are getting very different items to add towards your SIVA Engine, which will essentially take you on to the next step. And in this next step, again, you need to be in a fire team in a social space with 3 separate classes, a hunter, a warlock, and a titan. And again, it's a sequence of numbers where you have to start at one number and end up at the last number by adding and minusing the numbers that are on boxes in the screen. And with the capacitors being to add numbers onto your previous numbers and resistors being taken away from your previous numbers. I believe this is how it works. I'm not too sure. It's very confusing. But otherwise, again, these are not totally unique codes. You can use the ones that I'm about to show you. For the Hunter, you can have 24414. Or you can have 41233. For the Warlock, you can have 1334 or 23444. And the Titan so far can have 42123. These are the only codes that I know to work in this section, in this area. And once all three of your fire team have actually done this and completed this, you will be asked to complete the raid one more time. You get components from each of the 3 bosses in the raid, and that is all you need to do, is just go and complete the raid again on that character. And then last but not least, you have one more alignment. So you start with a random starting number to do with your class. I cannot quite remember what mine was. There are 5 columns with 5 rows, so there's a lot of things to choose from here. Like a lot of things to choose from. But you have to end up at the number 730, which isn't showcased in any way, shape or form. I don't know how other people know that it should be 730, but that is the case. You need to be 730. Again, capacitors you add onto your previous number, and resistors you take away from your previous number. Luckily, there is a calculator for this section. You can go down into the video description. In the video description, you will find a link to a calculator, and you'll see a start value, plus value, plus value, plus value, etc. and then an end solution of 730. So what you need to do is go onto your SIVA Engine, get your start value and add it to the box, and then every single box you can see in conjunction to your SIVA Engine, fill in the values you have. Then hit find solutions, and a bunch of different solutions will come up in what you should do, like 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, etc. There'll be like 10 to 15 different ones. Pick one of them, enter in the code, but do not hit the very last one to confirm it, because at this point you need all 3 of your fire team to have completed theirs ready to go without anyone once trying to click on the confirm button. Once everyone has all their things in place and think that they know what it is, you all need to click together, we believe. So you count down 3, 2, 1 and click together, and then you will have completed the quest line. You go to Shiro and he will give you this pulse rifle. So is this pulse rifle worth it? It's an incredibly looking pulse rifle. It looks amazing, it looks sexy, it's got the SIVA nanite swarms coming off it, it sounds great, it fires good, its perks are awesome to have mini Wolfpack rounds coming off it. I tried it in PvP, and while it's not terrible, I don't feel like it's overpowered, so maybe use your normal weapons in Crucible. But for PvE and especially the raid, this weapon is going to absolutely shred ads. It's going to absolutely destroy them because it does more damage to Fallen, as well as having the nanite swarms cause even more further damage. So is it worth doing? Yes. How did anyone figure this stuff out? I will never know. Like, it constantly boggles my mind how clever some people are to be able to figure out stuff like this. And because of all these people sending in their data to people who have created programs specifically for this, we now have an awesome pulse rifle to play with. So that is like a guide to, or a guide by my understanding anyway, of how to get this weapon. If you want to go over and check out Dato's video, it'll be linked down in the video description. He is very much more theory craft and a lot more intellectual when it comes to stuff like this, so his explanations might be more clearer than mine. So I hope this helped you guys figure out the puzzles. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Thank you for watching. I've been Easy Now, and you guys have been awesome.